day everyone, my name is Marvin P. Balingit and I discuss Module 5, Financial Statement Analysis. Corporate financial reporting is a crucial process that provides valuable information to various stakeholders including investors, creditors, regulators, and other interested parties. The primary purpose of financial reporting is to convey the financial performance and position of a company over a specific period. This information helps users assess the company profitability, liquidity, solvency, and overall financial health. The financial statement analysis is a method used to evaluate a company's financial performance and position by examining its financial statement such as income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. This analysis helps investors, creditors, and other stakeholders to make informed decisions about the company's future performance, investment potential, and creditworthiness. The primary goal of financial statement analysis is to unlock the clues about a company's future performance for its recent past. By analyzing historical financial data, trends, and other relevant factors, analysis can make intelligent forecasts of a company's future performance. These forecasts are essential for investors as they help determine whether a company's shares are worth buying or if the company is creditworthy borrower. To produce forecasts and valuation that help investors to determine where their capital is likely to earn its highest risk-adjusted return, a true financial statement analysis must follow four sequential steps. And first step is business and industry analysis. The business and industry analysis is a process used to understand the external environment in which company operates. It involves examining various factors such as the company's industries, competitors, customers, suppliers, and regulatory environment to identify the main competitive forces, key business risks, and source of competitive advantage. The main competitive forces in a company's industries refers to the factor that influence its ability to compete and succeed. This force can include factors such as bargaining power of suppliers and buyers, the threat of new entrants, the threat of substitutes, and the intensity of rivalry among existing competitors. Understanding these forces is crucial for a company to develop effective strategies and maintain its competitive position. Circumstances that could negatively impact a company's ability to achieve its objective. The risks can include financial risk, operational risk, strategic risk, and compliance risk. By identifying and analyzing the risk, companies can develop strategies to mitigate or avoid them. The next one is accounting analysis. Accounting analysis is a process used to evaluate a company's financial statement and identify the accounting policies choices made by management. These policies choice can significantly affect a company's financial performance and position as different accounting methods can produce varying results. And the primary goal of accounting analysis is to assess the appropriateness of choices made by management. This involves examining the company's financial statement and comparing them to industry standard, regulatory requirements, and best practice. By doing so, analysts can identify potential biases and inconsistencies in the company's financial reporting. And the third one is financial analysis. Financial analysis evaluates the past performance of a firm using its financial statement and related information and seek to determine the sustainability of that performance. And the last one is valuation. Valuation take take the input from the first three steps and translate them into a set of financial forecasts to produce estimates of company value. And this is types of financial statement. The first one is balance sheet. Balance sheet, this is a financial statement that provide a snapshot of a company's financial condition of a particular moment in time. Is list the asset, liabilities, and equity of a company. And the second one is income statement. This is the financial statement that shows a company's profitability over a specific period of time. It lists revenues, costs, and expenses, and the difference between them is net income or loss. And the last one is cash flow statement. This is a financial statement that show how change the balance sheet accounts and income affect cash and cash equivalent. It's break and analyzing down to operating, investing, and financing activities. Several techniques are commonly used as a part of financial statement analysis. The first one is horizontal analysis. Second one is vertical analysis, and the last one is ratio analysis. Horizontal analysis. Horizontal analysis is used in financial statement analysis to compare historical data such as ratios or line items over a number of accounting period. And horizontal analysis, also known as trend analysis, is a financial statement analysis techniques that show change in the amount of corresponding financial statement items over a period of time. It is a useful tool to evaluate the trend situation. The statement for two or more periods are used in horizontal analysis. The earliest period is usually used as the base period, and the item on the statement for a later period are compared with the items on the statement of the base period. This type of analysis is used to identify trends in the data over the time. In this one, the horizontal analysis samples. Vertical analysis. Vertical analysis is a method of financial statement analysis in which each line item is listed as a percentage of base period within the statement. And vertical analysis, also known as common size analysis, is a method used in financial analysis where each line item is listed as a percentage of a base period within the statement. This method allows for easy comparison across different periods and with other companies, as it is standardized. The figures can be total sales, total asset, total liabilities, depending on what is being analyzed. For example, if you're analyzing a balance sheet, the base figure could be total asset. Each item on the balance sheet would then be listed as a percentage of total asset. This allows for a quick visual comparison of a relative importance of each item. Liquidity ratios. Liquidity ratios are financial metrics that provide information about a company's ability to pay off its short-term debt as they become due. These ratios are crucial for both creditors and investors to understand how quickly a company can convert its asset into a cash to meet its short-term obligation. The most common liquidity ratios include a current ratio and quick ratio. The current ratio is calculated as a company current asset divided by its current liabilities. And the quick ratio naman is similar but exclusive inventory from current asset before dividing by current liabilities. A higher ratio indicates a better ability to pay off short-term debt. This current ratio is calculated by dividing a company's total current asset by its total current liabilities. It is a liquidity ratio that measures the company's abilities to pay off its short-term obligation with its short-term asset. A higher current ratio indicates a more promising financial outlook for a company. And para po makuha yung current ratio equal to current asset divided by current liabilities. Solvency ratios. Solvency ratios, also known as financial leverage ratios, are used to assess a company's long-term financial health. They confirm a company debt level with its asset, equity, and earning. The main purpose of these ratios is to evaluate the likelihood of a company remaining solvent over the long term by determining its ability to pay off its long-term debt, as well as the interest on its debt. And two examples of solvency ratio are debt equity ratio and debt ratio and debt asset ratio. Debt asset ratio are compare a company's total debt to its total equity, providing insight into a company financial leverage. And the debt ratio naman po is, on the other hand, compare a company total debt to its total asset, providing insight into a company's overall financial leverage. To debt equity ratio sample, the debt to equity ratio is calculated by dividing a company's total liabilities by its total shareholders' equity. In this case, for Camella Homes, the total liabilities are 30 billion and the total shareholder equity is 40 billion. Therefore, the debt to equity ratio for Camella Homes is 0.75. For Royal Homes naman po, the total liabilities are 40 billion and the total shareholders equity is 40 billion. Therefore, the debt equity ratio for Royal Homes is 1.06. And to take debt equity ratio, the solution is debt equity equal total liabilities divided by total shareholder equity. Debt assets ratio. The total debt to total asset ratio is calculated by dividing the total liabilities by the total asset. In this case, the Camella Homes, the total liabilities are 30 billion and the total assets are 100 billion. Therefore, the ratio is 0.30. For Royal Homes, the total liabilities are 110 billion and the total assets are 100 billion. Therefore, the ratio is 1.10. This ratio indicates the degree of leverage and risk associated with investing in the company. The higher the ratio, the higher the degree of leverage and the higher the risk. And to take debt asset ratio, the solution is total debt to total asset equal to short-term debt plus long-term debt divided by total asset. Return asset or ROA is assessed relative to costs and expenses and analyzed in a comparison to asset to see how effective a company is deploying asset to generate sales and profit. The use of term return in ROA measures customarily refers to net profit or net income. The value of earning from sales after all costs, expenses, and taxes. ROA is net income divided by total asset. To this ROA sample, return on asset is calculated by dividing net income by total asset. In this case, the net income is 32,052,694 and the total asset is 1,757,093,352. So ROA is equal to 32,052,694 divided by 1,757,993,352 times 100 equal 1.82. And derounded po siya kaya po naging 2%. That means for every dollar of asset, the company generate 2 cents in net income. And to get return on asset, the solution is ROA equals to Net income divided by total asset times 100.